The brave queen, the story of Esther. Long ago, in a kingdom called Persia, there lived a young Jewish girl named Esther. She was kind, beautiful, and loved God with all her heart. Esther lived with her cousin Mordecai, who took care of her like a father after her parents passed away. One day, when Esther had become a young adult, King Xerxes, the ruler of Persia, decided to find a new queen. He sent messengers throughout the land, searching for the most beautiful young women. Esther was taken to the palace, along with many others. She didn't know what would happen, but she trusted God. Before she left, Mordecai told her, "Esther, do not tell anyone that you are Jewish. Keep it a secret for now." After months of preparation, it was time for Esther to meet the king. When he saw her, he was amazed by her beauty and kindness. Out of all the women, he chose Esther to be his queen. Even though Esther was now queen, she never forgot Mordecai or her people. Every day, Mordecai sat at the palace gates, listening for news and watching over Esther from afar. One day, he overheard two men plotting to harm the king. Mordecai quickly sent a message to Esther, and she told the king. The men were caught, and the king's life was saved, but trouble was coming. A man named Haman was the king's highest official. He was proud and wanted everyone to bow before him. But Mordecai refused because he only bowed to God. This made Haman furious. When he found out that Mordecai was Jewish, he made an evil plan to destroy all the Jews in the kingdom. Haman tricked the king into signing a law that said all Jews would be destroyed. The people were terrified. When Mordecai heard about this, he tore his clothes and cried out to God. Then he sent a message to Esther. "You must go to the king and beg for our people's lives." Esther was afraid. In those days, no one could go to the king unless they were invited. If she went without permission, she could be put to death. But Mordecai reminded her, "Perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this." Esther knew what she had to do. She told Mordecai, "Gather all the Jews and fast and pray for me. I will go to the king. Even though it is dangerous, if I perish, I perish." After 3 days of fasting and praying, Esther put on her royal robes and bravely walked into the throne room. The king saw her and held out his golden scepter, a sign that she was welcome. "What do you want, my queen?" he asked. "I will give you anything, even half my kingdom." Esther invited the king and Haman to a special banquet. At the banquet, the king asked again, "What is your request?" Esther said, "Please come to another banquet tomorrow, and I will tell you." That night, the king couldn't sleep. He asked his servants to read the royal records and discovered that Mordecai had once saved his life. The next morning, he honored Mordecai, which made Haman furious. At the second banquet, Esther finally spoke. "O king, my people and I are in danger because of a wicked man's plan." She said, "Who would do such a thing?" asked the king. Esther pointed to Haman. "This evil man, Haman." The king was furious and ordered Haman to be punished. Then he made a new law to protect the Jewish people. Because of Esther's bravery, her people were saved. Esther remained a wise and kind queen. She had trusted God, and he used her to rescue her people. She showed that courage and faith can change the world. And so, children, remember, God has a purpose for each of us. Just like Esther, we can trust him, be brave, and do what is right even when it's hard.